Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday afternoon Meet the Atheists segment. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Renel, the spiritual atheist. Renel, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Very nice to meet you. I ran across your TikToks and I just said to myself, damn, we got to speak to this guy.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
No, you're welcome. Tell me, Renel, where are you? Are you based in the States, right?
Yes, I am. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay, down in the south.
Yes.
Nice, nice. Yeah. So, just bear with me for a second. I'm hustling to find my notes here. uh, there we go. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your religious background, Renal. Were you brought up in a religion? Have you did you grow up in one? And if you didn't grow up in a religious environment, did it have any impact on your formative years growing up?
Absolutely. So, I was born into Jehovah's Witness. Um,
Woo!
yeah, that's a tough
They
one.
don't play.
No, they don't. Um, un Unlike most religions, Jehovah's Witnesses have to go to church 3 times a week instead of one. So, yeah, and they call it Kingdom Hall. They don't call it church. So that wasn't very pleasant at all. um, but as a Jehovah's Witness, I thought I had, a real handle on life and on reality, and I thought that the Bible was the undisputed truth, and all knowledge could be derived from the Bible.
Right.
And of course, yeah, and of course, like as a Jehovah's Witness, we're trained to evangelize. We have to go door to door and save everyone from their fate. um,
I understand. I completely understand. Like in my opinion, the Jehovah's Witnesses are the ones who actually walk the walk.
mhm.
They don't just talk the talk. They're out there, where the rubber hits the road, and they are telling people about Jesus and all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they have a
Also,
very
very high control. It's a high control environment, as well as I understand it.
oh, it's very controlled. So if you go against the religion, you could get what's called disfellowshipped,
Yeah,
where family and community cannot speak to you anymore or have anything to do with you if the elders of the religion find that you somehow deviated from the religion at all, or you somehow I guess have your own thoughts. That's a
right.
no-no.
Yeah. So they shun you completely.
Completely. Friends, family,
You're dead. You don't exist anymore.
yeah. Once
Right.
you've been disfellowshipped, then you could only come back from that if the elders grant you that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's insane. That's that gives people a lot of motivation for staying in the religion and towing the line, I guess.
yes, which I think is the case for a lot of religions. It's just Jehovah's Witnesses are very upfront about it. But if you
Yeah,
were born into Islam, if you're born into Christianity, most likely your family and friends are the same thing. So if you
yeah,
leave this kind of things or think your own thoughts, yeah, the same thing could happen.
yeah, yeah. It's also probably why most atheists only come to it later in life. When you are more or less independent and you're not beholden to anybody to put a roof over your head and feed you. Then you can go like, yeah, no, I don't believe this. This is bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. You start developing your own thoughts. Yes. Uh,
Exactly. I remember always as a child, like this didn't sit right with me. It was just something about it that I just didn't buy.
hmm. Well, as a Jehovah's Witness, I was a very gun ho Jehovah's Witness. So
Okay.
I really really believed in the Bible, and I really studied it as a child. And
Yeah.
I went around debating people
Uh,
on the Bible, and I guess that's how I came to leave the religion later on. I was about 13,
right.
where I met this African priest who was a pagan, and he had many gods, and I had to educate him on why he was wrong by giving him Bible by giving him Bible verses on not having idols. And so he told me something that changed my entire life, which was I don't believe in the Bible. And
Yeah.
from that moment on, I was like, wait a minute, you can do that?
What?
Yeah. And so like in that moment where I guess my weapon, the Bible, was completely taken away from me so
Yeah.
easily by someone saying, well, I don't buy into that book. So, I mean, what it says is irrelevant to me.
Yeah,
I realized that there was something definitely wrong with the Bible.
exactly.
It's not
Yeah.
the magical book I thought it was, with this like magical power to.
So was that like the linchpin for you? Was that, was it like 5 minutes after that you just decided, damn, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in it? Or was it more like a gradual process from there?
Oh, it was a gradual process. So after that, I became curious about that African belief. I looked into different religions. I guess uh, from that moment, my world had shattered. Like what
Yeah.
I thought the truth was had completely shattered. So I guess I had to try to replace that. And so I guess as I grew into my teens, into my early 20s, I would say I would really say I became an atheist,
Yeah.
where I did not believe any God claims.
Yeah. 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 Well, it's funny that you mention, this idea of, replacing your religion with something, because, we had a bit of a to and back and forth about, this label that you use, spiritual atheist, which will definitely rub some atheists the wrong way, but
Mhm.
it's funny, like, because I can so relate to that, like when I let go of religion, it was, it was always traumatic. It was like there was something that was taken away from me in a certain sense, that I had this intrinsic need to replace that with something else, and instead of looking for something that's like tangible, and like I kept on looking for something, there has to be a different religion, or there has to be a different school of thought, like, and I kept on investigating and testing the waters on certain things, until I tend to gravitate more towards humanism, and just finding like a common good and a common purpose within us as a species. But why do you specifically, take that label, the spiritual atheist? What does spirituality mean to you, in this sense?
So I guess to best explain it, I would say the opposite of spiritual would be material.
Yeah,
So if there's an atheist, say there's an atheist rapper, and the atheist rapper sings about, excuse my language, with bitches and hoes and cars and money, that would be a
yeah,
materialistic atheist.
yeah, yeah,
And so I would be the opposite of a materialistic atheist. I would
yeah,
say it's what's on the inside that counts, and
yeah,
it's and values not found in material possessions.
yeah,
That would
yeah,
be the difference. And just to be clear to all the atheists who are listening, one of the most famous atheists, Sam Harris,
yeah,
who's a leader, I would say, in atheists. He also uses the word spiritual to
yeah,
describe reality. He uses that word.
yeah. Yeah, look, I mean, we all know what we mean when we say spiritual. We're talking about an inner emotional world, like
Hmm.
that we all feel. The only thing I think where we can, uh, disagree upon slightly, is that the religious like to hijack that word.
Hmm.
They like to hijack that word and add a whole lot of baggage and load that cart way up high with all their nonsense.
Yes, and I think,
Yeah,
and that's absolutely correct. And so I do believe that the religious claims are obviously incorrect. But
yeah,
one thing that religion does provide people with is a sense of inner peace and
yeah,
fulfillment. It does give people that sense when they think that Jesus is coming back, or they think
yeah,
Muhammad is coming back, or it gives them a sense of purpose. And I think that's why a lot of people may tend to stick with religion and maybe not go
yeah,
full on atheist, because they feel as though if they become an atheist, they'll be missing that peace that religion
yeah,
provides them. And so, like, what I would tell people is that you can have that component that religion gives you without religion. You don't
yeah.
need to buy into silly stories. You don't need to you just stop using your own thoughts. I mean, you could be a thinking person and still have those sense of fulfillment and the sense of meaning in life without
Yeah,
religion.
this is a funny thing, is like, whenever we hear from the religious, it's always like, yeah, how can your life have purpose and meaning? And like, where do you find fulfillment if not in this, in like the desert God of the Jews,
Hmm.
or the desert God of the Arabs? It's like, and you're going like, meaning and fulfillment is something that you create within your own life, and
Hmm.
if you look for that outside of yourself, then it ultimately has very little meaning in any case, because the meaning in everything, you create that in your own world. Some people find meaning and fulfillment in collecting Pokemon cards, and that's their reason for life, and where other people find meaning and purpose in humanitarian projects. They go and help the homeless on the weekends, and it gives them great meaning and fulfillment in life to help their fellow man. So it's a completely subjective thing. I never understand how people can say, oh no, there has to be a foundation for your morality, and and morality as well. That's something that's created by societies. You go to a different society, completely different set of morals. Like what's acceptable in a European country is completely immoral and taboo in a village in Africa. So I don't know where people get this idea from, that there has to be a foundation for something that's completely subjective and fluid.
Absolutely. I think it comes from an idea that the intrinsic nature of religion, which I believe is control. And people who say we can't get our morality from a human being, most of these people who say that are getting the morality from a human being named Muhammad, named Jesus. It's like your morality is coming from a human being. I mean, no matter how you shake it.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. So, I mean, all I'm saying is I don't look to those human beings for my morality. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. So, was there a specific person or an organization or anybody that was influential in your deconversion, or was this like 100% an inside job?
Well, my beliefs today are mostly inside job. I have like looked at other religions. I do believe that there's a common theme throughout religions. And what they do is basically tell you a story that puts your mind at ease and gives you some sort of peace of mind. That's what they all share in common. It doesn't matter what the story is. If I told you that the magical monkey king that lives on the moon will come back and save you, and you'll live, forever with him, if you truly believe that, you will have peace. So it doesn't matter what the story is, as long as at the end of the story, it gives the listener peace.
Yeah.
So
what's that saying that goes, you can take many roads to get to the same destination.
Absolutely.
Some people prefer to walk. Other people just take a rocket ship to get there. So there's many different ways of doing it. The only thing is, I think religion is going dumpster diving on the way to the destination.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's taken this like place of like privilege, especially in the United States, where it's like I'm sorry.
What's up with that?
Oh yeah, I have no idea. I don't defend the United States at all, and its ways. I mean, the far Christian right is I would almost call them a menace. Whereas all discussion shuts down, which is the hallmark of religion. And it's just do what I say and don't ask questions. And I think that's a very dangerous mindset.
Yeah, I get the distinct feeling that the vast majority of them will be quite happy and content in a theocracy, where there is basically a religion in charge of running the country, and anybody who doesn't toe the line just gets punished. Like that's what it looks like from the outside.
Absolutely. And I think even like the idea that America is a secular country, it's kind of ridiculous, because even in the beginning of the country, we have "in God we trust" on the money. We have like religious symbols on everything. On the Supreme Court, there's the Ten Commandments. When Congress meets, they meet in prayer. Justices have to be sworn in on the Bible. It's like
we're a secular country. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Yeah. Yeah, maybe secular on paper, maybe, but that's about it. And you find so many other like European countries that are actually secular, that are actually, and I don't know. I think America is always kind of like the last like horse to cross the finish line when it comes to like social issues. So we'll see how this great experiment goes.
We are not much better off here, Like, you should have we televise our parliamentary sessions and everything, and it's a clown show. It's a big clown show.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's not go there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, like there's entire YouTube channels just who make like thousands of rands of all the people fighting in Parliament and calling each other names. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. I think.
So, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. Yeah, I think, if I had anything to say, I would say, people should trust themselves and trust that they could make reasonable decisions. You don't need to be told what to do. You don't need to be made to do things by force. Human beings have empathy inside of them already. We could just use these things, use the better part of human beings to bring out the best in us. I mean, we don't need to be like dictated to. I would say.
You see, that's the hallmark of a free thinker, and very few people, take the liberty and the inner strength to actually just do that and think for themselves and think freely about things. It's a sad reality that we live in we live in an environment where people want to be told what to think. It's difficult for them to formulate their own opinions. They get completely and utterly uncomfortable when they when the spotlight is shone on them. It's like, what do you think about this, like,
yeah. The funny thing that you hear from theists is well, if God doesn't give us morality, then what's stopping me from killing and murdering? I would hope. I would hope
you're running around naked in the streets, raping and pillaging and stealing and murdering. Really?
Yeah, really? Is that really what you would do?
Just keep believing. Like if religion is the only thing that stops you from doing that, just keep on believing. I really don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit about activism. Because we, the Atheist Republic, I'm not saying that we run out and protest and and go and rally up the masses around every corner, but we are inherently an organization of trying to be active and to promote active atheism. Is there anything that you do? And I mean, like it can be as, like being on social media and just being a vocal voice. What kind of activism do you involve yourself in?
So I run an organization called atheahealing.org. It's there. And this is a group of people who get together and have a quote unquote spiritual experience that's non-religious. There's no deity, there's no religion. There's just a community and connection with people, which I do believe that a lot of atheists are missing when they leave their religious communities. They need another community to be a part of. Yeah. And so we do provide that. And we do have a set of morals. So we do believe that it's what's on the inside of a person that counts. So we are for LGBTQ rights. We are for trans rights. We believe in respecting who someone is. We are against materialism. So we are against the hoarding of wealth. The fact that so few people have so much of the Earth's resources, while so many others starve, is a problem for us. And we would call that immoral from our point of view.
There's a question for you. Have you ever been to India?
No, I haven't.
This guy's well traveled. He's been everywhere.
Yeah. I have been in Asia. I just came back from a 2-year tour of Asia. About 2 years ago, I was in Asia for 2 years. And I visited Vietnam, Cambodia, and Korea.
Okay. Not India, though.
Not India. I would like to travel to India, though. That's definitely one of my destinations.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting, because I don't know what, like you find among atheists and people who have left religion, it's people always call us, yeah, you guys want to be standing on the corner there pushing your atheism to everybody. It's just, for me, it's more a matter of truth. Like I really like to find out what is true. And if I find out that religion happens to be true, I'll be first in line. It's just I cannot seem to find any truth in it, and that is the thing that really rubs me up the wrong way. And when I see, I have such a deep compassion for humans that when I see people going down the wrong road, it's like my inner nature just tells me stop them, prevent them, try to help them,
Mhm.
point them to where the right road is going, because they going down the wrong road. And it's weird, and people don't seem to get it, like they always label you as, yeah, you guys are these angry atheists, and you just want to take people's God away and make them miserable like you.
Mhm. Well, that's not the case. Absolutely, at least not for me. Like, I don't try to make people atheists.
Yeah,
What I try exactly, yeah, what I try to do is promote reason and logic.
yeah,
And wherever that reason, just like you rightly said, wherever that reason and logic takes you is where it takes you.
yeah,
Um, that is the difference between myself and, say, a religious person who dictates what truth is. And
yeah,
if you disagree with it, you get punished.
yeah,
The idea that if you don't believe something to be true, you will be tortured for eternity. That is just insane to me.
yeah,
Like, there's no math teacher who says if you don't believe 1 + 1 = 2, you will be
yeah,
tortured. I mean, if you don't believe 1 + 1 = 2, then I mean, you could stay ignorant to it. I mean,
Or just imagine some teacher saying to you, if you don't score an A+ on this test, you're out.
yeah, it's like
And it's not
if
like
you
you're out,
apply,
you never get to take the test again.
no, that's it for you. It's like
Yeah,
if you apply the reasoning of religion anywhere else, I think people would see how this is madness.
complete absurdity. That it's a defect in our thinking process that we will find in no single other aspect of our lives. There's only this one area of our lives where we choose to not think about things in a certain way. Religion gets a free pass on a whole lot of things just in this one area of our lives, and we would never ever, I mean, where would you ever go and, for example, trust and believe a stranger that you've never seen in your life, that you've never met, and that you never will meet, and you will trust them completely? Like, it
Yeah,
just doesn't happen in regular life. Like, we have a filter that basically discerns the bullshit from the reality.
absolutely. And,
Religion seems to just have this special color that slips through the filter.
mhm. And they do it, I think, like with this drug called self-righteousness, where they say, like, when you're part of this religion, yeah, you are the good, and anyone who's not in this religion is the bad. And it
Yeah,
gives these people this sense of like high self-righteous, like, I am with Christ, I am with Allah, like.
yeah,
And it's like, in no other instance do we have to, like, adhere to a certain book like that.
yeah,
People don't understand, when it comes to science books, you could burn every single science book on the planet. Human beings could start over from 1 + 1, 2 + 2, and develop all of these science books again,
exactly.
because they're true. They're objectively true. We don't need the books. I mean, the books are helpful, so we don't have to do it all over again, but we can do it all over again. If
Yeah,
you burned every Bible, there's no way we could make up these stories again. Like, I
yeah.
mean, that's it.
No,
Which,
it'll
which is
come back. It'll come back in a completely different form. You'd
exactly.
have, if we have to invent religions with the knowledge that we have today, it'll be, probably some space alien cult
Yes, yes,
with lots of probing.
yes. With lots of yes, yeah, yeah.
And I mean, that sort of like ties into, talking about, what are you passionate about in life? Like, what fuels you to wake up in the morning? Now that you don't have, good old white baby Jesus waking you up in the morning.
I know.
Like, what gets you out of bed?
Yeah, I know. What do I do without blonde hair, blue eyed Jesus? I don't know. I still manage to get up in the morning. um, I do believe, even though I'm an atheist, that, like, being aware, being a conscious awareness, is a special thing in the universe. Being conscious, being aware, and so I do meditate a lot. I do become one with my thoughts. I do feel one with nature. I try not to fight against nature. I try to go with the flow, as Taoists might call it, or walk the middle path, as a Buddhist might call it. So I do have a quote unquote spiritual life,
Mm,
despite the fact that I do not adhere to any gods or any religions. I still
yeah,
have my own inner. So I think a dog could be at peace. I think a lion could be at peace.
yeah,
And just as a species, if you're conscious, you could be at peace. You could be at peace with your thoughts, and you could give your life meaning and purpose. from your perspective. And just like I said, I find it to be quote unquote wrong for the hoarding of wealth. So
Yeah.
spreading that word gives me purpose.
Yeah.
Telling people respect who you are inside, and respect people for who they are inside. These
Yeah.
things give me a profound sense of purpose, and gives my
Yeah.
life meaning. Which is why I started Afia.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. It's amazing. Like I'm of the very strong opinion that capitalism is it's the biggest evil that we have invented as a human species. But I don't think that the planet is ready, or humanity as a species is ready for something as radical as socialism, or I mean, like a lot of, I mean, Africa and our African mindset is inherently social, so geared towards socialism. It's a very strong emphasis on community and interconnectedness of people, and their relationship to nature and everything. So selling socialism to an African is not difficult at all. But selling socialism to a European is a bit of a struggle. I don't know why. But there's a lot of socialism in the current European structures. Like you look at countries like Sweden, Scandinavian countries, there's a very strong socialist element to it. But when you get to the Western Hemisphere,
No.
don't you be bringing your commie nonsense to me,
Exactly. I saw a very funny meme the other day. So like the Christian far right in our country, they love to save the baby. They're against abortion. They love the baby when the baby's in the womb, but when the baby comes out of the womb, the second the baby comes out the womb, you better not ask for anything. Yeah, you want to be breastfed. Stop being a moocher. You go out and start working right away. No health care for you. No college for you. No nothing for you. Once you come out the womb, that's it.
Yeah.
No more caring. Which is funny to me, because I would think that Jesus would be a socialist.
Yeah, exactly.
I would,
exactly.
which is really funny to me.
Yeah. Your boy Jesus, he was completely socialist, 100%.
Yeah,
Spare
feeding
no
people.
thought for tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
Gather not your belongings here on earth. For with
Yeah.
you, I'm going back now, and it's been like almost a decade since I cracked open a Bible.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know how they got Jesus and capitalism, how they combined the two.
Yeah, no,
So
it's like making a water and oil smoothie.
yeah, water, no. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like some sort of weird survival of the fittest with capitalism. Yeah.
We always like to, it's never all sunshine and roses and beautiful atmospheric evenings in the moonlight. Like religion really has a negative impact on a lot of people's life. I remember especially like living in constant fear and being having these unrealistic expectations towards myself, and it was completely unrealistic. And a lot of people report, how religion, after religion, they realized that it was, causing them to be intolerant towards other people, sheltering from the world, keeping them ignorant. What kind of a negative impact, and I'm sure you can talk volumes about this coming from the Jehovah's Witness movement. What kind of a negative impact has religion had on you?
I guess I would have to say just feeling ashamed of being human, and being ashamed of normal human processes.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, the level of shame you feel about sex,
Guilt,
about
shame.
guilt. Yeah. And what that causes is for you to like beat yourself up inside your own head and carry this like heavy weight called shame. And I mean, I would say that's a huge negative impact. It's like a big boulder that you have to carry with you everywhere you go. And it makes you fight against your own nature in life, trying to be more quote unquote godlike.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that would be the hugest negative impact, and I think that causes a lot of hypocrisy.
Yeah.
I think like it's no coincidence that we have so much child abuse in the Catholic Church, where these men have to spend their life not having sex. I mean, that's completely unnatural, and then they do these things. I think it has a definite negative impact when you
Yeah.
make people believe that their nature is evil.
Yeah. I never get what's up, with the Catholic. I mean, with the Catholic Church, it's like, okay, I get it. Like you have to be a nun, you have to be celibate, you have to be a priest, you have to be celibate. But like, why? It's not. What made them decide that? The religious leaders have to abstain from something that's such a natural expression of the human nature, and then expose them to a lot of vulnerable children afterwards.
I know. No,
It's like
no.
whoever did that wasn't thinking this through. They really weren't thinking this through.
No. If I were to guess, I would say that these people hold themselves up as some sort of superior humans.
Yeah.
Like the priest, the pope are these people who are closer to God than you can ever be. And so the people, the followers, they allow these kinds of abuses to happen. Some of them know it and keep quiet about it because they want to keep this shield of goodness on these people with these fancy costumes that tell the world that they're better than you. And somehow like you're lacking what they have.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's a big PR vibe, It's
Yeah.
like it's just like, you can't do anything that's going to make people think any less of you, So I mean, like, what the fuck is up with that? People can't just, I would actually have much more respect for religion if it was authentic, if it said, look here, this is what's wrong with me, this is what's bad about me, and it came warts and all, but no, it comes, dressed up as a A-list hooker parading, on the corner. It's like, like look at all the good, like I got like 10 pounds of makeup, 5 wigs, body shaper on, and everything.
Yeah.
It tries to hide all these imperfections, and it's very strange.
And that took me like many years of inner reflection to get away from that shaming of myself and tell myself that I'm perfectly fine the way I am. The dog is fine the way it is, the lion is fine, the tree is fine, the human is fine the way it is. Everything is fine the way it is. Like there's no reason to be ashamed of it.
Exactly. This is such a Western idea. If you go to I haven't experienced it firsthand, but I've been told, for example, in the Eastern countries, especially in the Asian countries, if something has an imperfection, it's actually valued, because it's something that's unique, it's not like printed from the same mold, so people actually value things that are different, whereas in the West, we're very conformist, we always say, like, look at those Asian people, they all look the same, they all dress the same, but we actually are very highly conformist and control, based in a rigid control structure, where I don't know, when I was younger and when I was religious, like anybody that wasn't religious was like, oh God, look, or they're a different religion. We're like, oh my God, those people are going to hell. They're gonna burn. It's very weird. It just primes you up for this fucked up way of thinking about other people, and I don't know. For me, when the second I let go of religion, I became so much more open to different people, different ideas, celebrating, just how diverse we are as a people, and just I think I guess like growing up in South Africa also helped a lot with that, like where we have to just embrace diversity, because that's just the nature of where we are. We've got like such a variety of different ethnicities, language groups, everything here, so it's like a big cultural melting pot, and it just primes you up to be a little bit more open to different ideas and different ideologies. And I still can't get it how even in that environment a lot of people still cling to
No, it's funny, we started talking about Black people, especially in America, and I'm sure in all parts of Africa also, who are worshiping this white deity and calling it God, the creator of the universe. I think like in that practice, there's an implicit, this is what God looks like. Yeah. So if you look you're away from God, the less you look like that figure. Yeah. And I mean, if that figure comes into a courtroom, it's going to be hard to say that this guy's guilty of a crime when he looks just like Christ. I think this like Yeah, and I think is what you were saying before is deifying perfection, and having a model. This is what perfect is, and anything that shies away from that is imperfect and is evil or dirty or nasty.
Yeah.
You know, I think it definitely it leads to, I mean, especially, you know, in this instance with Jesus, leads to a lot of white supremacy.
Yeah.
Or you know, or the idea that, you know, that white male features, or, you know, are closer to God.
Yeah. I distinctly remember, now that you're saying, you know, now you're saying this, I distinctly remember this. I was listening to this one debate. I think it was Christopher Hitchens against somebody else, and he quoted this poem about some, you know, some very extremist Christian sect, and it went something along the lines of, "We are the few and what we are the few and chosen. We are the pure and chosen few, and the rest of you are damned. There's room enough in hell for you. We don't want heaven crammed," or something along those lines. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know why it just came front and center to my consciousness when you were
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah, it is pure insanity. I mean, I guess, like, on that note, I just want to send the message out, like, you know, everyone, you're perfect the way you are. You know,
Yeah.
develop yourself, develop your own mind, become the best you can be. You don't need to be anything other than what you are. You know, you don't need to be
Exactly.
made to feel ashamed of what you are.
Exactly. I love that message. You know, and it's okay to be imperfect. You know, like,
Yes.
nobody is perfect. You know, embrace imperfection, be your authentic self, and you'll be much happier, and, you know, you'll have far better mental health, firstly.
Yep.
You know, when you embrace your imperfections. And I think it also comes a lot with age, Renel. You know, like, when you you know, as you age, you know, these things become less and less important. You know,
Yeah.
you just, there's like a distinct there's this distinct point in your 30s where you just remember saying, like, "Fuck this shit."
Yes.
You know, like,
I definitely had it.
I
I am what I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm too old to try to conform
It's
anymore.
a
Like, I'm
watershed
me.
moment. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
watershed moment. You know, you just
Yeah.
remember life before that moment and after that moment.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's start concluding our conversation here. You know, and I always like to ask guests. I know, you know, hindsight is 2020 or whatever, as the as the saying goes. But you know, if you could look, you know, if you could go back and, you know, reach out to young Renel, you know, like young Renel before, you know, like probably like at the age of like 10 years old, you know, like, and you can say something to him, you know, just to shape and mold the process, you know. I know, you know, we wouldn't be who we are today if we didn't go through the experiences. But if you could, you know, like, what bit of sage advice would you give to your younger self?
So as an older sage, going back to younger Renel, I would say, young Renel, peace and fulfillment is inside of you.
Yeah.
It is found inside of you. It is found when you accept yourself for who you truly are. That's where heaven is. Heaven is not in the afterlife. It's not in some place. It is in your mind. When you've totally accepted who you are, you found heaven.
Yeah. Amazing. That's incredible. And you know, then in conclusion, do you want to tell us where people can find you on social media? What's your TikTok? What do we need to search for?
Sure. My TikTok is Renel, the spiritual atheist, and my organization is called Afia, and if you can find it at afiahealing.org. That's a community of secular people who want to get together and connect and have all the fellowship of religion. All ideas are welcome, and you are accepted for who you are.
Amazing. Amazing. Renel, thank you very much for being so generous with your time and you know, meeting up with us on this Sunday morning. I'm sure we'll see
church for this.
Having fun.
No, I said I skipped church for this.
Me too. Me too. Take care, my friend. We'll see you around, eh?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye.